Hi everyone, welcome back to Total War Therapy, and today we're gonna see the best army compositions for any legendary lord and legendary hero in Tides of Torment. We're gonna see which units they boost with their skill trees, and then we're gonna apply this to build our thematic armies to dominate our campaign in Immortal Empires. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let's begin. Hi, I'm Alberto, I'm a real person, and here you will find the beginner's guide, the battle unit roster, tier list, ranking, and many shorts. So if you wanna support the channel, please consider to subscribe. Just a few seconds to share with you the conditions we're gonna play the battle on. We're gonna use the default founts that are limited, of course, so we have to make efficient and effective choices, and then the enemy army will be chosen randomly by the game automatically, so I will have no voice around that, and then the difficulty will be very hard. Let's start with the Sea Lord Aislinn, that, as you can expect, he boosts all the units linked to the naval theme, so the ship's company included the Regiment of Renown, the Northern Sea Guard, that is a unit from the base game, and then the Oceanids and the Mervyn. Now, let's have a quick look at the part of the skill tree that enhanced this kind of unit. Let's start with the Herald of Matlan, that increased the leadership, the melee attack, and the ward save. Then the Master of the Mist, that first grants you to Sea Lord Aislinn this ability called the Master of the Mist, that is incredibly powerful because you can double the range of your missile infantry, or your missile units overall, and believe me, it's crazy. And then the Stalk to the Northern Sea Guard, that is an amazing unit. I remember back in Total War Warhammer 2 they were one of my favorite, and with the Stalk you can deploy them not in the second line, but even further in the battlefield, and use them to circle around the enemy and shoot the arrows at their back. And it's very good because they are very defensive. They have the spear, and they can use the spear, as much good as the generic spearman, almost. So even if they get charged by the enemy, they will be quite protected by themselves. Then the dedicated to Matlan, that reduce the upkeep, increase the melee defense to your lord, and increase the leadership to the ship's company in the Northern Sea Guard. The Protector of the Sea, that is a more complex ability, but even in this case you boost a little the missile strength of all your range units. And then the Spirit of the Sea God, that gives the ward save to your lord, and the physical resistance to all the naval units except the Northern Sea Guard. So with that we can start our fight. As I said before, the enemy army is chosen automatically by the AI, of course respecting the same amount of money of my army, this to guarantee the most as equal as possible fight. Now, with the Sea Lord Aislinn, we don't have anymore a spearman frontline, but a ship's company one, because they are boosted, but in any case they will be less defensive. They have better melee stats, but they sacrifice all the anti-large bonus, the charge reflection, the charge defense, so they will be more vulnerable to large units, to cavalry, to monsters. But luckily we have the Northern Sea Guards, that are archers but hybrid, because they have the spears to defend from monsters, especially the one that will try to flank you. And this is for me the best way to use the Northern Sea Guards, to defend your flanks from the cavalry that will try to charge you, because you can first shoot with the arrows and then you will defend with your spears. We will take the Oceanids as a damage absorber, so in case the Northern Sea Guards is not enough to cover all the army formation, and the Sea Elemental as a tank in the middle to try to attract as many units as possible in the center of your army formation. And then Sea Lord Aislinn, that with the Northern Sky Cutter will be the jolly, so it will move around where we need help. Now, as I said, the ship's company is less defensive, so there are more chances, it's cheaper That's if we have to be honest, so they can be a good alternative, but it's there are more chances that the enemy will break your front line, causing a drop of leadership to them. But you can still use in this case the Lothern Sea Guards as second level of melee infantry, like in this case that if there is like the Soul Grinder that managed to penetrate the formation, then we can use them both as a protection to surround the enemy, and another Lothern Sea Guard with the arrows to compensate for the damage. Overall, I like this kind of army, and there will be another way, as maybe already said, to boost the Lothern Sea Guards and the Oceanids in the campaign, not only with the skill trees but with other features that I cannot share for now. And in this case, you can build the perfect naval theme for not only for the Sea Lord Aislinn but even for the Sea Helm, that they share some of its we can say priorities. And yeah, in any case, it's lovely to have this combination. Even the Lothern Sea Guards, they sacrifice a little range, but at the end the outcome is incredible, and I love this kind of combination. The second legendary lord we're gonna talk about is Sayl the Faithless, that he's gonna boost the Cursed Attin units and the Kurgan cavalry, together with some monsters from the Monstrous Arcanum book that I'm not sure I can share with you right now, because they are part of a new Norsca feature, so okay, just let's skip it for the moment. In any case, in the first part of the skill tree, you can boost the melee defense and the charge bonus of the Cursed Attin, together of course with some skills in the red line. Then with the Dark Sorcerer, you will give the poison attack for the Kurgan horsemen, and then with the leader of the Dolgan, you will give the perfect vigor and the physical resistance to the Kurgan horsemen units. That is great because they will never get tired, and you can use them in a more mobile way. Okay, just because you don't have to worry about them getting tired, so see the stats reduced. And with the physical resistance, they will be a little more resilient, because believe me, they are not that tough as it may look like. Now let's have a look at the army composition of Sayl the Faithless. Again, this time the enemy army is completely randomized, chosen automatically by the AI, respecting the same amount of money. Now let's focus on Sayl the Faithless. Now, to get the Kurgan cavalry and the Cursed Attin, both the generic version and the rune color that is more magical, I had to sacrifice my melee infantry. That's why I took only the Marauders that are very cheap, but we needed to compensate. And then Sayl the Faithless will ride his mammoth. In this way, it will be quite powerful. Believe me, the combination of a spellcaster with some other special abilities, like the special missile teeth that he shoot to the enemy, and all the spells together with this very tanky unit, it's incredible. I love it, and it makes them a very powerful lord to fight with. And then yes, the Cursed Attin can be the damage dealer, okay, and they have to help to support the front line that is very cheap and very weak in this case. The Kurgan cavalry, I can tell you, is not the best, okay. When I started to play with them, I thought that they were this very tough armored cavalry, but they revealed to be quite weak, okay, even compared to other low tier cavalry of the enemies. In any case, their main attributes is that they are fast, and with the boost of Sayl, they are slightly more resistant, so you can just use them to circle around the enemy and attack the archers, or in case of Slaanesh that they don't have very vulnerable units, you can just charge the back and use the hammer and anvil strategy that is more of Slaanesh than the new. Sayl the Faithless in this case will be the centerpiece of our army. He will try to absorb as much damage as possible, and then he will keep casting the spells. Now the Cursed Attin, they are very big, very resilient, they are quite expensive. The rune color will have some spells, so always keep an eye on it, because the spells they have more uses that they don't use the Winds of Magic, so they are you know, you don't have to worry about that. But of course there are multiple uses, so you have to check sometimes if they are available again. As you can see, the Marauders will be a little you know, destroyed by the enemy army, but it's not a problem. We have no units to defend like for the High Elves, so we can just put our focus on the cursed eating and everything that is happening around them. They're very resilient, so they're very hard to take down. And you know, for all the units of Slaanesh that try to escape or they chase your Marauders, you can just use the Kurgan cavalry. This build is very lovely, and of course in the campaign you can even afford something better. The Masque of Slaanesh will be the field Sea Lord, but we will still include her in this video, and of course she's gonna boost all the Demonettes, generic and exalted, and all the units related, so the chariots, the cavalry, and the new pleasure seekers, the Snakes Rider Demonette. Now the first one is the Accursed Maiden that boosts the physical resistance and reduce the upkeep of the Demonette, the Entrancing Arabesque that enable the charmed attacks for the generic Demonettes because the exalted one already got it, the Riders of the Dissolution that boost all the cavalry related to the Demonettes, so the Heart Seekers and you know, the Seeker Chariots and so on, and increase the melee attack, the charge bonus, and the vigor loss reduction. Then the Alluring Pace that gives the bonus versus infantry. That is crazy, believe me, because 12 more of weapon strength against infantry, it's a lot, even for the Demonettes that they hit hard already. And then the speed, like if they need it, and the frenzy. Okay, this is, I mean, this part of the skill tree, it's even too much probably. And then the irresistible eagerness that gives the vanguard deployment for the Demonettes. I mean, it may be useful depending on the strategy you're applying. And then the cursed zeal that I mean, gives the perfect vigor to the Demonettes, so they will never get tired. Of course, you can just build an army of just Demonettes, and they will be so powerful that they can already destroy everything if you use them in the offensive with offensive tactics, but in this way, just a wave of Slaanesh destruction. Now let's fight the battle with the Masque of Slaanesh and her or his, I don't know, army composition. Even in this case, the enemy army is chosen randomly and automatically by the AI respecting the same amount of money. But in this case, our army looks a little more little, and but is composed by this, is made by these Demonettes with some exalted Demonettes, an Allure that is a spellcaster in here with exalted Seeker Chariots, and then the Pleasure Seekers cavalry that, believe me, they can do the job by themselves, they don't need any help. Now, the Masque in this case is both a support and a damage dealer lord. She's tougher than you may expect, and still you have to keep her close to the other Demonettes because they are demons, and if there is a strong drop of their leadership, it will be over for them. You have to try both with the Allure and with the Pleasure Seekers to circle around the enemy. In this map was a little hard, but I managed at the end. As I said, even if you don't have a strong frontline defensive, you don't get the Marauders or the Warriors of Chaos, with the Demonettes you can afford to have a more offensive and aggressive strategy, so you have to hit very hard. The Demonettes will be resilient even against monsters, so don't worry particularly about that. And then with the Pleasure Seekers and the Allure, try to circle around the enemy and hit at the back. Now the Pleasure Seekers are a key unit in this build because they can charge very massively and then just escape. They will fly away, and I'm saying flying because they are faster than most of the flying units in this game, and their damage, it's so powerful. They can annihilate a unit in seconds, especially if they charge the back or the flank, and then you can move away and charge another units, so they will do the job. Okay, I mean, it's crazy to say because the demonettes are damage dealer too, but at the end it will be the pleasure seekers doing everything, and with the demonette you have just to, you know, distract all the other enemies that in this case they are more than you, so you have to try to attract them as many as possible, and the pleasure seekers will do the rest. And yeah, well, I mean, what can I say? Now let's talk about Caradryan, that he's a legendary hero, but in the campaign I still like to create an army revolving around his skill tree. And at the same time, I can tell you that in the new campaign features for the High Elves that I'm not sure I can share with you for now, there will be other way to boost the Phoenix Guard and Phoenix units in a specific army. So all together you can create a really powerful Phoenix army in your campaign. Let's start with the captain of the Phoenix Guard, where you reduce the upkeep of the melee infantry, and then there is this ability that is not necessarily linked to the Phoenix Guard but to any unit. Then with the Servant of the Creator God, reduce the upkeep of the Phoenix Guard units. That is very important because their units very expensive, and reducing the upkeep that much means that you can recruit far more of them in your army. The Mark of Surian that enable the magical attack for Phoenix Guard making them more versatile, you know, even against units with physical resistance, so demons for example, and monster demons. And then the Phoenix Rebirth that gives a 30% charge more to the destroyed Phoenix to be restored after battle and before. And then the Devoted Guardians that give the ward save of 10% to the Phoenix Guard, together with some recruit rank for all the armies faction wide. Now let's have a look at the army composition of Caradryan, that, as said, it's mostly consisting of Phoenix units, so the Phoenix Guards and the Phoenix Birds. In this case, one Frostbite Phoenix, because I prefer it because it's more tanky compared to the Flaming one. The Arcane was just too expensive. And then there is the Phoenix of Caradryan that, let's be honest, it's probably the best looking Phoenix ever made by, I mean, in this game. And as I said, and I will keep saying, the enemy army is chosen automatically by the AI, respecting the same amount of money. In this case, we had to sacrifice some money for the Phoenix Guard and the Phoenix, so we got only these archers and a unit of spearmen to protect the rear guard in case the enemy managed to you know, circle around, or even the Dreadmaw in this case in the enemy army can just, you know, come up from the ground and hit directly your archers, but the AI is not that smart usually. In any case, the Phoenix Guard is very strong, and you can enhance them with a campaign feature that, as I said, I'm not sure I can share with you right now, but with that and the skill tree, the red skill line of the Lord, believe me, you can create an insanely strong Phoenix based army. You will use the Phoenix Guard as a front line. They will not be many units because of course they are expensive, but don't worry, they are you can even, you know, just put them in the very wide formation because they are very strong. They defend they have the anti-large and all the charge reflection and the charge defense attribute, so they can be a very sturdy front line. You don't need more, and you can use, you know, the other units just to defend your flanks that will be quite exposed in this army composition, of course, with the limited founds. And then the Phoenix, both the one of Caradryan and the Frostbite, you can use just to protect the flanks. And the Lord, in this case, we just use it, we're gonna use it as a support to the archers, and with a couple of abilities that are very interesting. Even the Phoenix Guards, even if they are very strong, they will let some monsters pass sometimes, and they are very slow. They cannot lose they cannot leave their position, so you have to be careful about what's happening in the in the middle of your army in case there is some monsters that penetrates, like in this case with the Wolfric. But as you can see, at the end we can manage to win the fight. There is no problem with that, and Caradryan got almost no damage. Believe me, it's a very tough unit here, and it deals a lot of damage, and with all the effects, all the abilities that he got, you can really just build the army around him. Of course, if you're enjoying the video, please consider to support the channel by subscribing, leaving a comment or putting a like. And now it's the turn of Beorg, that again, he's a legendary hero, but I like to create an army revolving around his skill tree. That, as you can expect, he boosts mostly the Marauder Beerman, sorry, both the two versions, so the one with shield and with the great axe. The first, the Ferocious Fighter, increased the charge bonus, it gives the Vanguard deployment and the Cause Fear for the Marauder Beerman units, that together with immunity to psychology makes them, I mean, closer to a monster than a melee infantry. And then with the Beerman of Urslo, that it's said we didn't get a proper regiment or renown, but I don't know, let's see in the future what happens. In any case, it will reduce the upkeep and increase the melee defense and gives the frenzy. That is a very powerful attribute that increases the stats when the leadership is high. Let's see what his army may look like. Now let's see the army of Beorg Bearstruck. We chose Throg as a lord for this army, and even here the enemy army is chosen automatically and randomly by the AI, respecting of course the same amount of money of our army. Now, as you can see, the most of our army is made of the Marauders Beermans that are very cheap. I mean, even if they are more expensive than the Marauders, you can still afford to deploy a lot of them for a very little price. We took just a little, a couple of skin walls to respect the Beorg stuff. I mean, because as you can see, just a remodel of the skin walls. I'm sorry to say that. Anyway, very cool model, so I'm okay with that. And we need some, cavalry flanking units. But yeah, the body of our army will be just the Marauders, and they can stand everything, especially with the enhanced stats of because of Beorg. So they can fight against the dragon, they can fight against eagle, chariots, and even very strong melee infantry, like in this case the Lion of Krasse and the Phoenix Guard of the High Elves. And even the archers, of course, you have to send the front line with the shields at the front, because they will be protected by the missile attacks and they will be more defensive when charged by the enemy. And then you can use the version with the great axe as a damage dealer. Of course, in this case we have the skin walls that will try to flanks and to charge the most vulnerable units of the enemy. And with Beorg, Beorg will be your key unit, your hunter. So as you can see here, there is the dragon that is attacking us, and we will use Beorg to address that, and Throg too, because it's quite the same, they work in the same way. And yes, of course, Beorg is specialized against anti-large, so you have to prioritize monsters with him. And yes, I like it because with this kind of army you can you can spare a lot of money, you can save a lot of money in the campaign to use in other armies. And this this build consisting only of Beermen will do the job, no worry the price. Now, as an ultimate army composition, I will show you one of the strongest builds ever created by Creative Assembly, made by the combination of the skill tree of Dechala and the one of Styrkaar, that both boost the Marauders units, with some other that we're gonna explain step by step. First, with the devoted monstrosities of Dechala, she can boost the weapon strength, the melee attack and the vigor loss reduction of the champions of Slaanesh that we will use as a cavalry in this army. And then we're gonna get the Mistress of Tormentors that increase the weapon strength of all not demonic units, so all the Warriors of Chaos of Slaanesh, so the Marauders that we will focus on in this army. The Mistress of Suffering that gives it reduces the upkeep and gives the rage. That is an effect to all the Marauders, sorry, and to the Warriors of Chaos. That it's an effect that increases with the time spent in melee, and then it gives the immunity to contact effects and increase the melee defense and melee attack to all the Marauders units. That is crazy because they will not suffer effects like poison and frostbite caused by the enemy. And then with the Tainted Cup, she gives the Roding poison that is stronger than the poison to all the Marauders units. So they will become, sorry, even a debuffing unit. And then we get Styrkaar that will keep boosting the Marauders units. First with the Unseen Companion that reduce the upkeep and increase the leadership. Then with the Follow the Leaders that boosted the casualty replenishment rate and gives more recruit rank when you recruit them, and it reduces the recruitment cost, of course, for the Marauders units. With the Chieftain of the Swords of Vinare that increase the speed and the physical resistance that they already have a little but not that much, and the Terror from the Wastes that gives the causes fear to the Marauders units, so they will reduce the leadership of the enemies they will fight with, and then the Vigor loss reduction of 33%. And I mean, all together you can create your wave of destruction made only by Marauders. Now, of course, here we're playing just with the skirmish battles, but believe me, in the campaign, this combination of Dechala and Styrkaar, with an army only consisting of Marauders, will compete with the strongest enemy armies in the late game, full of elite warriors and monsters, but they will do the job insanely, because it will be very, very cheap. Okay, you will pay nothing for this army able to destroy everything. And Dechala and Styrkaar will be just the damage dealer here. All the melee infantry of Marauders will be mostly the the wall, but this very strong wall. They have the poison, they have all the ecosphere, so they will reduce the stats, they will reduce the leadership of all the units. And then with the Dechala Styrkaar and the Champions of Slaanesh that deals a lot of damage, you can do the rest of the job. All these units, the 4 damage dealers, they are very, very fast, they are very elusive, so you can just move them wherever you want. They are quite resistant and resilient. Dechala not that much in this specific army. Maybe I should have managed her a little better. But yeah, in any case, you can just move around with them and destroy all the units, while your body of Marauders will absorb the rest of the damage, will keep all the other units busy, and they will, especially in the campaign, as I said, it will be very hard to take them down because they will be excessively boosted. And yes, I love that. That was definitely my favorite combo in the campaign that I cannot show to you right now, because we're not allowed yet to show the campaigns. But yeah, believe me, it was incredible. I loved it so much because I was paying nothing. But with this army, I was just going to destroy all Cathay, all the dragons, the Kugat, the Plague Father, and yeah, I annihilate the region of Cathay with an army of basic Marauders, and not even two, just one unit of Champions of Slaanesh. And I was using the rest of the money to help the other armies that they needed the most. But this one was just perfect in the way that it is.